Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Welcome in, welcome in. I'm sorry that I had to push that stream back a couple minutes. Running into a couple problems here with the wedding coming up on Saturday. We have some rain coming in the only day of the week on the day of the wedding. So now we got to scramble and jamble and get a tent set up. We got a whole bunch of moves that need to happen. But trust and believe we're getting it sorted out. It's all good. What can you do? What can you do? I heard rain on a wedding, good luck in some cultures, but I think that's a coping mechanism. But no, welcome in everybody. Of course, we did get some CPI data earlier today. I'm super busy today. I leave for the wedding tomorrow, and so I was like, you know what? Instead of me trying to scramble to make a video, I'm going to just jump on live. I'm going to talk about the CPI data and talk about what happened. I'm going to talk about why the market's moving kind of weird as a result of it. And I'll tell you what I think it means for the market, why I actually think it's a pretty decent sign, what I'm looking forward to and kind of keeping an eye on for the next couple days, and all that good stuff. I'm going to be out of town Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm coming back here Monday for one day, and then I'm leaving from Tuesday to Saturday. Okay, so this is probably going to be the last stream for about 10 days. 10 days. So I want to give you guys just a general overview of what it is that I'm looking at, what I'm keeping an eye on, and all of that good stuff. I am going to be making some videos here and there, some small stuff, nothing too crazy. Maybe make a video with Connor Kinney or Sam or some of those guys while we are going to be together. Me, Connor, Sam, Crypto Moses, Kate O'Neill. We're all going to be in the same building at the same time tomorrow, which is fun. So I am going to try to get some content out for you guys while we're there, but I'm not going to be able to go live for a while, okay, guys? So I wanted to just kind of jump back on one more time, go through the market, make sure that you're prepared. But with that in mind, I do have to get going pretty soon here, so let's get into it. So we got CPI data earlier today. It was actually pretty good for the first time for the first time in a while. It was pretty good. Forecasted CPI was 2.9%. Actual was 2.8. That was year over year. Of course, month over month, forecasted was 0.3%, and then actual was 2% on core. And then core CPI month over month was 0.3%, forecasted with 0.2% actual. What does this mean? What this simply means, I know CPI, forecasted annual, M over M, year over year, whatever. I know it sounds complicated. It's not. What this means, okay, is that CPI is a measurement of the consumer price index. And all that tells you is whether or not prices for consumers, just you and I, when we go buy Stanley cups or water bottles or whatever it may be, whether or not prices are going up or down year over year, month over month. CPI data is important because this is what many people, and the Fed is one of them to some degree, consider to be inflation. Inflation is the nature of whether or not the cost of living is going up or down. Now, the reason this is so important, and we've talked about this a million times, so I'm not going to just talk your ears out over the same thing, but the reason it's so important to have an understanding of what's happening with inflation is because inflation is the number one thing that the Fed is paying attention to. The Fed is the person who's in control of the money printer. Money printing, inflation go down, money printer typically can turn on eventually, or quantitative easing, or just the removal of constraints off the economy, right? And so paying attention to what's happening with inflation will help us get an understanding of the health of the economy, whether the economy is in a good spot or a bad spot, whether it's about to get pumped or whether it's about to get dumped on by the Fed. And it's very, very important, especially for crypto. What you have to remember is crypto is a liquidity-based asset class, meaning that if there's a lot of liquidity out there, people have extra money, crypto will do well. If there's not, it won't do well. And if inflation is going up, it means people have less money generally, meaning usually that crypto does worse. Now, people spin this narrative that Bitcoin is the flight away from the fiat and from the dollar, and it's the safe place to go to get away from inflation. I understand the thesis, I understand the idea, but while Bitcoin can swing 20% at any given point, people don't look at it that way. That is the way I'd like for people to look at it. But the reality here, okay, the reality here is that liquidity drives this market. And even if inflation goes up, even though some people will say, well, Bitcoin's the way to get away from inflation, look at 2022 and 2023. The reality of it is that if inflation goes up and inflation's bad, crypto is not going to perform so well because people have less money and they're worried that the Fed is going to implement QT or quantitative tightening like they have been in order to reduce it. All those things to say. Sorry for the tangent there. I'm a little bit scramble brain today, but all of that to say it's important to watch inflation. Well, inflation came in better than expected. Analysts were expecting that year over year inflation was going to be 2.9%. It came in at 2.8%. They were expecting core month over month to be 0.3%. It came in at 0.2%. What does that mean? Prices are climbing at a slower rate than analysts were expecting them to, which is a good thing generally. Okay. Now, The problem is, okay, there's a reason why the market's not pumping. First, the market seemingly never pumps off good news these days. But there's a reason why the market's not pumping, right? Because we got this pretty solid inflation data, but if you go to crypto bubbles, it's an okay day, but the market's not ascending by any means. There's these few, right? IP, Pi, TIA, they're catching momentum, but the majority of the market is still either flat or negative. Bitcoin, for example, is currently just basically in the same exact place. It is still a little bit negative on the day. Ethereum's still down on the day. Caspa's still down on the day. ETH to Bitcoin pair is down on the day, right? So we are seeing the market not really responding super favorably to this, and I would assume that also applies to the stock market as well. I would assume it's doing okay, a pretty decent rebound, but for the most part, nothing too crazy. And the reason why the market's not going nuts, it's not going haywire, is because although this is a win, it's a very small win in the grand scheme of things. The Fed has said consistently that they want inflation to get down to 2%. And so we've made progress to get towards that 2% goal, but the reality is that we're not there yet. And people are getting bored of it. They're getting tired of it. They don't really care about CPI news anymore. It's the reason why no one's really talking about the CPI news. It's good news, but no one really cares. And so while we're away from 2%, while we're still slowly working our way to it, no one's really going to care. In addition to that, another thing that you have to consider is that Trump just implemented tariffs, right? This was just within the last month for the most part. And the reality is that the tariffs that he's implemented is very likely going to cause prices in certain fields to go up, if not most fields to go up. The reality is that tariffs of this nature, 25, 30, 35, 40%, right? They naturally force inflation. Why? Because implementing a tariff on a country means that for someone to import goods from a country, they have to pay a higher price. So the cost of importing goes up. Well, what that person does, the person who's trying to import those goods, what they're going to do is they're going to raise the prices of whatever it is that they're manufacturing or selling. So say, for example, if I'm a car company here in the United States and I'm importing my engines from Mexico. Now, in order to get an engine from Mexico, instead of paying $3,000, which is too low, but you get the point, I have to pay $4,000. So I have to pay $1,000 more. Well, clearly, that importer is not going to want to pay that cost because they don't want to reduce their profit margins. That hurts their stock prices. Bad things, right? So what they're going to do is they're going to say, okay, well, customers, you pay that $1,000. And matter of fact, you're going to pay a little bit more than that. Right? So they're going to make you pay $1,200. And so naturally, across these industries that have to pay more money on importing these goods and services from Mexico, Canada, and China, in those industries, prices of the services and products that they're selling are going to go up. Okay. Now, why is that important? Well, the thing about it is that doesn't just happen fast. It usually takes a little bit of time. And what I mean by that is saying that, okay, Trump went in and implemented these tariffs just this month. We're not going to see the impact from an inflationary perspective right now. It's going to take a little bit of time. It's going to take time for these prices to go up and actually show a measurable amount of change across these different industries. And I think a lot of the market realizes that, sure, although CPI data from this month is good, doesn't mean it's going to be good next month. And it doesn't mean it's going to be good the next month. And people aren't really getting their hopes up that this is going to be the moment where inflation finally starts heading back towards 2%, because the reality is no one truly understands how Trump's tariffs are going to impact the market and the economy in the next month or 2 months or 3 months. Okay. And so knowing that there's still those things on the horizon, a lot of people aren't getting their hopes up. They're not buying into this. They're not doing anything. They're just kind of waiting. Now, I will say that that is actually a very mature thing from the market, because generally the market uses every excuse that it possibly can to do something crazy, whether it's pump like crazy or dump like crazy. And so the fact that the market is still factoring in the idea that there are still things on the horizon, they're not getting their hopes up too much. We're not just pumping because we get one piece of good news, right? It does seem to me as if the market is becoming a little rational recently. Maybe it's just me, but it does feel a little bit more rational recently. And I think that is a good thing. And so overall, is this inflation data good? Yeah, it's pretty good, right? Inflation's coming down. That is going to kind of ease people's thoughts on the economy, right? Everyone's screaming that a recession's coming. I don't particularly see how in the world the economy is in a worse place right now than it was 2 years ago. But if you can convince me or show me, I'd love to hear it. And so I think a lot of people are going to start looking at this economy and maybe a little bit much of a better picture, just a little bit, not a ton, but just a little bit. And if we do start to notice that Trump's tariffs don't, cause these huge spikes of inflation, then maybe we could finally be getting the ball rolling in the right direction of seeing inflation coming down, at which point we do expect the Fed to start taking some of these constraints off the economy. Not quickly, but eventually. And obviously, if they take these constraints off the economy, and they start maybe money printing, which they shouldn't or wouldn't do because the economy wouldn't be in a terrible place. But you get the point. When they pull these constraints off, that should open up the doors for more liquidity. Hopefully interest rates do fall eventually, making money even cheaper to access. And then you do start to see the ball rolling, in which crypto usually can perform well. So this could be a step in the right direction. This could be a move in the right direction. But the reality here is that it's just a small step, right? It's just a small step. It's not a huge step. And it's not something that should be taken very, very big, in my opinion. So That's why the market's kind of in a weird spot as of the release of the CPI data. And I don't really expect anything to happen as a result now of the CPI data to cause anything big, no big shifts or nothing like that. The market's at a bit of a standstill right now, or a slow gradual decline, quite simply because people don't know what's going to happen. There's a lot of decisions that are being made right now. There's a lot of waiting that needs to happen right now. From a technical perspective, you're seeing waiting in the sense that Bitcoin, for example, is at its 50-week moving average, a simple moving average. I made a video for you all yesterday where we talked about the fact that Bitcoin was at this 50-week simple moving average. And look, you know what? Since someone commented about this yesterday, let me go ahead and change this real quick. Give me 1 second. I'd like to do this and then let's make it. There we go. So, and oh, sorry guys. That was a wedding planner giving me a call. I'm gonna have to call her back in a second here. But yeah, so what you can see here, this yellow line is the 50-week simple moving average. Okay, it's the 50-week simple moving average, and we're now at it. Now, you can't rely on it. It is not 100%, but it is pretty damn good in the sense that when we are above the 50-week simple moving average, we are in a bull market. When we're below it, we're in a bear market. That's kind of how it's gone. And obviously, there are things that can shift that, right? Whenever the pandemic happened, we went back below it for a second before recovering it. So it's not 100%. But in general, when you're doing trend analysis, when you're above the 50 MA, you're in a good spot. When you're below the 50 MA, you're in a pretty ugly spot. You're not in a great spot. And what you can see here is that Bitcoin's price is now at that 50 MA. It is deciding whether or not we are going to stay above it or go below it. And I think that's going to have a huge impact on the shape of the market and the way that the market looks for the next couple days. Or not next couple days, right? Maybe a couple months, couple years, even at that, right? So from a technical perspective, we're above the 50 moving average, but we're at it. And people are waiting and watching and wondering whether or not we're going to lose this or not. And to some people, confirm whether or not we're in a bull market or a bear market. So from a technical perspective, people are waiting and watching from that. From a macro perspective, people are waiting and watching to see what sort of changes and impacts Trump's tariffs and, Trump's economy has. Do these tariffs cause inflation? Does he make any more big changes that are going to impact the economy? Will the stock market crash as a result of this or that? People are uncertain. And what you'll come to recognize is that the reason the market's acting how it's acting right now is simply just because people are uncertain. They don't know how to feel. Do I feel bullish? Do I feel bearish? Are we going to stay above the 50 MA? Or are we going to fall below the 50 MA? Is Trump going to revoke these tariffs, or is he going to put more tariffs on? People simply just don't know. And when you combine the fact that people don't know with the fact that people don't have that much money to just be throwing around at crypto, it puts us in an environment where this market's not really capable of doing too much. It sees a little bit of growth because institutions are buying and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, we're not really it's gonna be difficult to see some huge moves, some huge changes. It's gonna take something impactful. We're gonna start to need to see more progress towards a better economy. We're gonna need to see more progress towards economic, easing, quantitative easing. We're gonna need to see more progress towards these things that'll open the doors of opportunity for people to feel optimistic. Because the reality of it is, people are so not optimistic that we have no juice at all. We're kind of just flat. We're kind of just out of gas right now. And I think we're going to need to see some of these things shaping up in order to get there. But the first step to getting away from these times is we need to see these decisions made. And there's a chance that Bitcoin stays here for a while, guys. That is just the truth of it. And I'm not just saying this. Sometimes I say stuff like this and people say, oh, you're just yapping. But if you go look at history, we've seen moments like this before, and we've seen moments like this even recently. For example, if we go look back at 2024, I can show you. So Bitcoin's price went for a rally. It came back down right towards this 50 simple moving average. Now, at the same time that we were getting close to the 50 simple moving average and we were kind of sitting on top of it, what happened? The presidential election was approaching. And so people were sat there wondering, okay, well, are we going to hold the 50? Are we going to hold the 50 moving average? Are we going to fall below the 50 moving average for the first time in crypto history in a situation like this? Is Trump going to win the election? Is he going to lose the election? What's going to happen? And what you can see here is that when this time was uncertain, because remember, if you were here, let me know in the chat. If you were investing in crypto back in September of 2024, let me know, say I was here. Okay, just let me know I was here. But if you were here, you'll remember that there was a lot of uncertainty here. People just didn't know what was going to happen here. And so we sat here for a while. I mean, the reality of it is that for the first time that we hit this simple moving average was August. And then we went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks, nearly 2 months, just kind of going sideways within this little range, right? Do y'all remember that? A lot of you were here. You remember that. You remember how uncertain everything was in August and September? We just didn't know. We knew we had the halving coming up. We knew we had those things, but we were uncertain about what the landscape was going to look like, right? And we sat here for a couple months because people were just unsure. And it took Trump winning the election to finally get this thing to make a move, right? To make a move. You know, it's hilarious. People always say that Trump is the reason that the market's down. And I do kind of find that funny because the reality is that if Trump would have lost here, I genuinely believe the market would have crashed. I think it would have pulled back. And what I think would have happened is we'd have went sideways and we'd have never even got this high. So maybe the market wouldn't have crashed. Maybe it would still just be going sideways still. Maybe things would have still been boring. But the likelihood is that we would have been lower had he lost than if he won. And so you can hate him or love him, but I honestly think our bags are higher right now because he won than even though he is doing some kind of questionable stuff right now, right? And so the way that I see this is that we're in decision-making mode. We were in an HMZ, a high manipulation zone, and they started to run out of juice. The liquidations were starting to dry up. They were starting to slow down, and so they allowed this thing to move how it was going to move. And the direction that it was moving in was just kind of sideways. And we might stay here for 1 week, 1 month, 3 months, 1 year. I have no idea. That's not the point. The point that I'm not trying to make a point here of saying what's going to happen. I'm just telling you that as of at this exact moment, we're in decision-making mode. And what that means is that I don't expect this market to do much. Maybe a little bit down, maybe a little bit up, but I actually don't think we're going to see anything gigantic until we see something more concrete. If we start to see the economy getting ugly, if we see PCE data coming in bad, if the likelihood of a recession, an official recession, which they move the goalposts on that every week, but if we start to see bad economic data, bad economic news, signs that Trump's tariffs are really negatively impacting the economy, then I do expect this market to really start to struggle. But while we are just kind of in this standstill moment, I'm really not expecting that much to happen. Maybe we just gradually keep falling or gradually go sideways or gradually climbing, but I'm not expecting a ton to happen, to be honest. And I may be wrong, and maybe I'll go get married on Saturday, open my phone, and Bitcoin's at 60,000, and I'll just be wrong. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just telling you guys what I expect. I don't see a reason for it, therefore I'm not expecting it to happen. And so because of that, my approach here right now is I'm actually displaying a lot of patience. I'm displaying a lot of patience. I'm dollar cost averaging in these moments, and I'm just waiting. I'm buying because Bitcoin's at a macro level of support. Very simple. Very, very simple stuff here. Bitcoin's at a major level of support, so I'm going to do a little bit of buying. If Bitcoin falls below that major level of support, I'm going to start buying at other key levels of support. Very simple stuff here, okay? I'm going to just buy little pieces here and there while we're waiting. And I'm just going to wait this out. I'm going to let it play out. It is a little bit convenient that I do get married Saturday because I have something to distract me from crypto, to be honest, because I'm not really focused. There's not really that much to talk about. We're in a descending channel, which means that we might continue to slowly trend downwards for a while, or we'll kind of go a little bit flat or sideways, right? And then eventually I think the day will come where this market really wants to make a move. And when it decides to truly make a move, that's whenever I'll start kind of getting the ball rolling. That's when I'll start doing a lot. But as of now, what we're back testing, guys, I'm learning more. I'm educating more. I actually just signed up for a course on Elliot's wave theory. I'm pretty confident in my Elliot's wave theory, but I kind of want to practice some more. So I'm taking that course. I'm learning more about it. Yeah. Sorry. I was doing something. I was reading a message from the wedding planner, but I'm taking that course. I'm learning more about Elliot's wave theory from a creator perspective. I'm trying to make my titles and my thumbnails and my content better, right? I'm focusing on all those things, and I'm allowing this market to pay off or play out. One of the biggest things that I say to you all the time is impatience in this market is expensive. And what I mean by that is if you try to force things, you're probably going to lose. You know, I made a long trade this morning as a joke, literally as a joke. It was a tiny little less than 1% of 1% trade. My first leverage trade in 3 months, actually, just for fun. Like, you know what? I'm getting married Saturday. I want to throw one more trade up while I'm not married. I don't know, just something stupid. And guess what? I lost. And I'm glad I just did a tiny amount because I recognize now's not the time for that. Now's the time to just be patient. Go either do something else or just lean in a bit and learn more or dollar cost average. Expand your mindset, expand your skill set. Like this is the time to do it. And I know, guys, I say it all the time and I sound like a broken record. I truly do understand that. But the reality of it is that the people who do what I'm telling them to do in this moment, which means just use this as an opportunity to be patient and get better at something, whether it's in crypto or outside of crypto, the people who do that are going to win. And the people who get impatient and try to rush things, most of them are going to lose. That's just the reality. Like it or not, that's the reality. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just hang out. And so I'm not buying any crypto today because we are in decision making mode. I bought a little bit yesterday, a couple days ago. As you all know, I did buy a little bit of Bitcoin. Let me get the Discord pulled back up. I bought a little bit of Bitcoin. Let's see, Discord. I bought a little bit at 77,300, which was on 2 days ago, and I'm happy with that purchase. And for now, I'll just kind of wait. I want to see what plays out here. Do we hold this 50-week simple moving average or not? Do we start trying to break out of this descending parallel channel right here or not? That's really what I want to know. And once we have a clear direction of where this is going and what we're doing, then I'll make a move. But until then, guys, I'm just hanging out and chilling, taking a little bit of a breather, taking a little bit of rest, and let's just keep the ball rolling. And I think that's the best that we can do. And I know it's not full of hopium. I know I'm not being super doomy gloomy. I know I'm not really touching on any big emotion points right now, being like, this is exciting or this is scary, right? But the reality of it is, listen, there are moments in the market where it's boring. There's moments in the markets where not much is going to happen. There's moments in the market where you're going to start getting kind of tired of it, and that's okay. It's a part of the game. And what you have to understand is that you can use those moments or you cannot. It's totally up to you. But I like to use them for good or for just chilling, hanging out, right? So that's what I'm going to do. That's where I'm at. And that's what I think most people are doing. Again, this is the reason why Bitcoin's not pumping as a result of CPI data. This is the reason why the market's not moving like crazy today. It's because people they're uncertain. They don't know. They don't really know how they actually feel about the market. And they want to see some of this stuff play out before they make a move. And I think that's a great idea. I think it's a great idea. Okay. So that's where we are. So those are my general thoughts. And that's kind of what I'm doing over the next couple days. I'm going to be watching closely. Let me give you a couple things from me to you that I'm watching while I'm out at the wedding and then on the honeymoon for you to be watching closely. Okay. Downside support level. The only downside support level I care about right now, realistically, is this 50-week simple moving average. So $75,550 right now is the 50-week simple moving average, and that's all I'm watching. We have those Fibonacci levels that I told you about before, so I will still DCA. But as of right now, I'm only really focused on this key level right here, this support level. As long as we're above this support level over the next how many days or weeks, we're in a good spot. We're fine. If we start falling below it and getting closes below it, guys, it's not good. Simple as that. It's just not good. It's not a good sign for the market. That is not a good sign of strength, realistically, right? And so that's where we are. That's where we are with that. When it comes to upside progression, right? If the market starts moving, if it starts pumping, if it starts growing, what am I looking for? Well, personally speaking, I'm actually looking for a break of this descending channel. I came to a realization earlier this morning that Bitcoin has now actually created a descending parallel channel. And you can kind of see it when I go here. Boom, and then boom. And you can really start to see it play out if I drag this a little bit further back, then I actually push this upwards, just like that. Boom. You see that? Bitcoin has created a descending channel here. And descending channels are very easy. They're extremely easy for me to understand. They have a bottom side, which is a support, and a top side is resistance. Generally speaking, you will hold support and use it to break out of the top side. That's usually what happens. Sometimes they fall to the downside, but then they usually will recover back in it, then break to the upside. So whenever I'm trying to see, like, okay, you might say, well, Tyler, at what point do you get more bullish? Like, at what point do you actually get excited? Do you start to think that we're going to make a move upwards? Oh, it's simple. When we break out the descending channel. So from the bottom side, I have that 50-week simple moving average, which is somewhere right around here, roughly, or it's a little bit lower. Let's go ahead and call it right around here. And then to the top side, I have this descending channel. And I'm just going to watch, guys. If we keep balancing between these two, I'm not going to do much. I'm not going to get bearish. I'm not going to get bullish. I'm just going to sit back and watch. Let it play out. If we bounce off this 50-week simple moving average and break above that channel, hey, baby, the door might be open. Now we got to start looking at Fibonacci retracement levels. Maybe we are going to try to make a push. Or if we lose support here, oh, shoot, maybe we need to start looking at opening up some short trades, right? Because I think this market might be in progression toward, to try to go downwards, maybe try to reclaim 65K or something like that. And that's very simple. And when am I going to dollar cost average? Just on red days. I'm just going to buy a little bit whenever it's red. Anytime we're in this bottom 25% of this parallel channel, I'll do a little bit of buying. Check me out. You guys know I like to do the 25% channel here. Boom, 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 and then bam. And then I'll make this green. And anytime Bitcoin comes back down in this little green box, yeah, I'll buy a little bit. But I'm not going to do much. Buy a little bit in the green, wait for us to break to the top side, make sure we hold over that 50-week simple moving average. Sit back and wait. And I'm sorry again that I can't deliver you guys a bunch of... I'm sorry that's all I have for you. I'm not one of those YouTubers who's going to make something out of nothing, right? I'm not going to make a video just for the sake of making a video. I'm not going to hype you up just for the sake of hyping you up. I'm going to tell you what I'm seeing. I don't see much right now. It's just a waiting game. Let it play out. We have to just see how this plays out. Because making big moves right now, you're just gambling. You're just gambling. Because some crypto YouTubers are going to say, this is the beginning of the banana zone. And then some people are going to say, this is the beginning of the bear market for the next 2 years. The reality is none of them know. And I do get a little frustrated because sometimes I start to question myself from a skill perspective. Like, do I not know something? Like, am I missing something? What am I missing? But the reality of it is, no, I'm not missing anything. The market doesn't know. We don't know what's going to happen with tariffs. We don't know what's going to happen with the prices. Simple as that. And so we need to sit back and we just need to watch. That's what we need to do. We need to sit back and we need to watch. And we need to see what this market wants to do. Does Bitcoin's price want to hold above this 50-week simple moving average and use it to bounce back out of this zone? Or is it going to fall below it? Because that's going to start to tell us really, truly what picture is being painted. So I'm sorry. Again, I wish I had more for you. That's just what I got. Okay, that's just what I got. I know some of you have been asking me about individual altcoins. I'm still not very focused on those specifically. I pay attention to them to some degree, okay? I pay attention to them to some degree, but I do think this market is solely reliant on Bitcoin. I think if Bitcoin is sustaining and holding up well, altcoins will do okay. If Bitcoin is dumping, altcoins will do very bad. If Bitcoin is doing very good, altcoins will do pretty good, right? I don't think we're in an altcoin-dominated market, so I'm just not worried about them right now. If I don't know what's going to happen with Bitcoin, I really don't know what's going to happen with altcoins. And so I'm not doing a ton of TA on Solana or ETH specifically. Like I'm not doing a lot of that right now, simply just because they're going to follow Bitcoin for the most part. And not super correlated, right? Like a lot of altcoins are up a little bit today, but Bitcoin's down a little bit today. So I understand that there's a lack of correlation, but from a macro perspective, the macro move Bitcoin makes is going to impact the macro move altcoins make. That is just the truth. And so because of that, I'm not really that focused on them, just watching Bitcoin. And I don't know, guys. I really don't know what else to say. So that's kind of where we are with this, and that's what I'm doing. Like I told you guys, I am going to try to make some content. I have a video coming out on Saturday that tells you the 5 lessons that I've learned over the last 7 years that I believe every single person has to implement if they want to win in crypto. I'm very excited to release that video, actually. I'm going to release it as I'm getting married because I think that's funny. It's just scheduled to go live. But you guys will be able to watch that. I'm not sure if I have content out on Friday. I'd like to make some with Connor and Sam when we're out and about. So I have some content coming for you all. I'm going to pre-record some content. I'm going to do my best to get some content out for you all. But as I mentioned before, this is the last live stream that I'm going to be able to do for about 10 days or so because I have, again, the wedding. I get back Sunday. Then I have to pack up on Monday. And then we leave from Tuesday to Saturday for the honeymoon. Then I come back Sunday. So yeah, 10 or 11 days without you guys, which really sucks because I really do like streaming. I feel like it's fun these days. But your boy, I mean, obviously, I'm more excited to go get married. I ain't gonna lie, guys. I ain't gonna lie. I love you guys, but I am more excited to go get married. So yeah, I'm going to go do that. I'm going to get this stuff sorted. I have content coming out. I have content posting every single day on Instagram, every single day on TikTok, analysis every single day on Twitter. Me and my team of analysts are still going to be pumping out content for you all. So don't think I'm just going to completely disappear. I will be around, but I am just going to be a little bit more MIA. So if you do want to go follow me on those things, you can follow me on Instagram. Let me get that pulled up for you. You can follow me over on Instagram. I'm logged out, which is annoying. That's at TylerHillYT_. You can follow me on Twitter at TylerHillYT. You can sign up for the school. I will be posting some updates here and there, letting people know if I do buy anything while I am out of town. Guys, you can sign up for the school right now for as little as $5 a month. And our mission at the school is extremely simple. It's a very, very simple goal, a very common goal. What we do is we take crypto investors like yourselves. We give you courses, coaching, classes, live streams, workshops, signals, a ton of value to help you create your strategies because strategies are what create winning investors. And I'm not talking about little wins. I'm talking about consistent big wins. Even on days like today, I mean, you can see like hundreds of percentages in gains, millions of dollars. And I'm not saying that dramatically. I'm talking literally, proven recordedly, millions of dollars of profits being generated by this community just within the last half a year, right? So if you do want to sign up and you want to check that out, again, the link is down in the description below. And the best part about it is we take crypto investors like yourselves. You can start for as little as $5 a month. And if you don't start seeing growth within 12 hours of checking out all our content, I'll just give you your money back. That's how confident I am in all the value that we post here in the school. So all of that stuff that you see here, that's all available for you. So feel free to go check that out. And if you don't want to buy anything, I got 2 options for you. Beyond the Basics, it's a free guide that you can download today, which is going to give you a bunch of information. I'd like you guys to study this while I'm gone. That would be super helpful so that whenever I make the next stream, we can kind of get a little bit more detailed and I don't feel a little bit held back from a skill gap. So if you could go download the Beyond the Basics guide and start learning about indicators and technical analysis, fundamental analysis, and much more, it would be super helpful for me to be able to give you guys a ton of value whenever I get back. And if you are brand new and that's a little too complicated, there's a Crypto for Beginners guide available for you. Boom, smack dab right there. And the very last thing that I'm going to shill before I wrap up for 10 days, which kind of sucks, I'm going to miss you guys, is you can go check out the link to BTCC down below. Guys, this is only if you're an experienced trader. You can go get a 10% bonus on all first-time deposits, which equals out to tens of thousands of dollars, depending on what you deposit. So feel free to go check those out. Please do download these two guides while I'm gone and study them up so that when I get back, we can go over some stuff and yeah, kind of sucks. Like, I'm so excited to go get married, but I really, yeah, we do. Aaron Bennett is a part of this. He's just kind of like he got some stuff. We're working on integrating him into the school still, but yeah, I don't know, guys. It's kind of like I'm so excited to go, obviously, and like I would not trade this for the world. I mean, it's like gonna be probably one of the best days of my life. But it's like, damn, like 11 days without the homies. I think I got a problem. I think I'm an addict, honestly. So I appreciate all you guys so much. It's been an absolutely fantastic month. Absolutely fantastic 3 months. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I've been trying very hard to make the channel as best as I possibly can and make my quality of my content as good as I possibly can. And the shorts and the Instagram posts. And like, I've really been loving it again. I had a rough couple years during the bear market, obviously, when I was building the business and trying to balance YouTube and having a family and traveling and all that. But I've really loved it again. You guys have made this fantastic. Shout out to Stein RR, by the way. I don't know why. I see you all the time. You're fantastic. Jim Jarvis, Dennis, all you guys. Thank you to everyone for just making this such an amazing trip. And it's been a great run. It's been a great run, and I can't wait to get back and just get back on the grind, get back on the hustle, and keep doing this. So hopefully nothing crazy happens while I'm gone. Hopefully the market is kind of relaxed and you guys don't freak out while I'm gone. But I'll be around. I appreciate you guys so much, and I'll see you in 11 days. Peace out, everybody.